Ellen McCauley. I'm a Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And before I start talking about the topic for tonight, I'd like to make a couple of comments on Lent. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday. So today is the second day of Lent. So yesterday, well no, let me go back to Sunday. On Sunday, we're driving to church, and I turned to my beloved husband, and I said, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. And he goes, why? I go, because the black books are going to be at church. The black books are going to be at church. I'm so excited. So I basically ran like chariots of fire in the door. And I open up the door, and I go over to the table, and what's laying there? The Magnificat. And I'm like, where's the black book? And they decided this year, Holy Family Church, for the first time in maybe forever, to give the Magnificat instead of the black book. So I'm staring at the Magnificat, saying to myself, I'm sure this is a beautiful book, because I know it is, because every year someone gives me one of these from their parish, and I've used it every year, and I'm happy to have one, but I have to have the black book. So then Bob's comforting me in my seat. He's like, don't worry, Ellen. If we have to drive all over Onondaga County, I will get you your black book today. And that's exactly what we did. I ended up going, we got one at St. Charles, and I brought some in. And it's just, I am a creature of habit. I like my black book. I like how it says, what are my Lenten plans? I'm happy to have it. But my beloved husband made sure I had my black book. And we brought some, and other people must like them because they're all gone already. And you know how I said last week that we could either have a small Lent or we could have a large or a big Lent. So yesterday, Bob and I go to 5:30 Mass. And so then I said, you know, as part of my Lenten intention, I should ask if they need any help. So I go over to the sacristy. I'm like, how's you doing in there? You need any help? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. Can you and Bob be Eucharistic ministers? I said, absolutely. So then I go to my seat. And next thing you know, Deacon Bob's tapping me on the shoulder. And he says to me, Ellen, would you be able to give out the ashes? And I'm like, oh, yay. What? Me? Put the ashes? I go, what do I say? And he's like, you say, remember you are dust, and unto dust you shall return. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, are these signs of a big Lent or what? But I have a confession to make. I was so bad. I was awful. I would I'm like trying to do this, and everybody, I wish the Beagles were here, because everybody, I walked out of church and Deacon Bob did me. I had the most beautiful cross on my forehead. Anyone who came to me had this like black little circle. I was like, so I go up to Deacon Bob afterwards. I'm like, Deacon Bob, I did so bad. I was like trying to get across, and he goes, Ellen, I was so bad for so many years that Father Jason gave me this little, what do you call it? A little like scrap sheet of paper, like a little, like a practice stencil. That's what it was. And he goes, here's a little stencil for you to practice till I'm Deacon Bob. And like you got to say the words, you got to touch the thing, and it was challenging. But guess what else? I wanted to sob. I was like crying, giving people their ashes, because there's these beautiful little children, and I'm saying that to them, remember that you are dust, and until dust you shall return. It's very emotional. So people were up there going, all right, not only did you give me a black blob, she was crying. What's up with her? I'm not going to her line next year. Let's make sure she doesn't do it. But it was very meaningful, and I wanted to share that with you because it's part of my big Lent. Now, Bob and I had a little disagreement this week, and I wanted to see what the other Pray It Offers think. Remember last week I gave you the 10 things to do during Lent? Remember?
Absolutely.
Remember I said Jean really liked it? Remember this was Jean's favorite one. Throw away 40 things for 40 days. Every day you walk around your house and collect 40 things to donate or throw away every day until Lent ends. Bob says, Ellen, you were wrong at Pray It Off because you made it sound like people had to collect 1,600 items, and all it is 40. It's one a day for 40 days. I said, oh no, Bob. It says right here, collect 40 things to donate or throw away every day until Lent ends. So I'm going to take a vote. Who thinks it's 40 and who thinks it's 1,600? It's 1,600. It says right here, collect 40 things to donate every day. It says collect 40 things.
Told ya.
It says every day. Well, anyway, I'm doing, Linda Vishnesky and I are doing 1,600. She already gave away 300. Let's hear it for Linda. So you slackers can get your lousy 40. Linda and I are going for the 1,600. Okay. Oh, and here's something else I want to mention. All right.
Typos.
You know how I said that, you know, if you can't come when it's windy, here's something else. On the news last night, they showed people driving their cars, going up to, rolling their window down, and there was someone going, shoot, 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 shoot. If you're too busy to go to Mass. Now I can see, hey, I was in the ER and I might die tomorrow. I'm going to go through the drive-in ashes. I give it to you, that person. But what are they going to do? Drive through ashes. Did anyone here go to the drive-through ashes yesterday? Would anyone admit to it? If they did. Yeah. And then a church of another denomination that we will not besmirch had a sign on West Genesee, drive through for your ashes. You Catholics can do it too, you know. But I thought it was funny. I did see something funny on Facebook last night. Sometimes when I'm tired at the end of the day, I troll. So it said, for those of you girls who are looking for a good Catholic boy to marry, God made it easy to identify him today. And it showed these guys with ashes on their forehead. I thought that was cute. All right. And the last thing I want to comment on is Hot Pockets. And you might say, Hot Pockets, Ellen? Why do you want to talk about Hot Pockets? And this is why. You know that whole college scam when they were trying, these rich people were trying to get their kids in college and were paying, thousands and thousands. Well, yesterday, the heiress to Hot Pockets got sentenced to 5 months in jail. Hot Pockets is a multi-billion-dollar company. Somebody's sitting around the house and says, let's take some dough, fry it, stick some cheese and ham and processed food in it, and let's make billions of dollars. Do you know how many calories are in Hot Pockets? Do you know how many chemicals are in Hot Pockets? And she's a billionaire. And you know my whole comment of that? What was I doing in the 80s that I couldn't have come up with Hot Pockets? I'm very upset with myself because I'd be a billionaire now. All right, so let's go to Billy Graham. And the reason I like this article, the 5 things Jesus wants women to know, and it's the guys out there, please don't take offense. The reason I put this article in there is because recently someone said to me, you know, Ellen, you're an interesting character, which I've been called a few times in my life. They said, you're not like a woman's liver, you don't seem to be. But then you're very out there and everything. I said, I never felt I needed to be a woman's liver because I always thought we were kind of better or, equal, or I just lived my own life. I didn't say, oh, I'm a woman, or I just did my own thing. And they said, but then being a Catholic where women are second-class citizens, and I'm like, oh, I don't think women are second-class citizens in the Catholic Church. And this is a perfect example, and it's by Billy Graham, not even by a Catholic, but he feels that women are very highly valued. And he talks about the Samaritan woman who wasn't even supposed to be talked to by anyone who was Jewish. And Jesus not only talked to her, but he changed her entire life. He didn't condemn her. And her testimony impacted so many people that came to know the Lord. And then the second one, well, the whole topic of that is society doesn't determine your worth. You know, you see someone and, you know, we have to go to this diversity training at work, and they say, you know, you sign a waiver, you're very honest with your information. It's a whole group full of a very diverse crowd of people. And they say, who here grew up on public assistance? And I raise my hand, and people are aghast. I'm like, because I don't meet the stereotype of a poor person. You know, I'm college educated, we live in a nice house, I have a job, and you tend to stereotype people who were either born in poverty or live in poverty. Same with people who are sinners. You know, whenever there's a series of murders and they're prostitutes, you're like, well, you know, they're kind of putting themselves out there. Really? Really? That's what people say? Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said you are valuable. And he also says we're created for a purpose. How about the teenager, the Blessed Virgin Mary, who he said, you are the mother of God. She was created for a purpose. Or even Mary Magdalene, who was healed of demon possession and turned out to be the first person that Jesus first appeared to. And that has been almost single-handedly why people believe the Bible version of Jesus' resurrection is true. Because if they were making it up, they would have never had Jesus first appear to a woman. That is one of the biggest reasons why people say it must be true. Because back then women were not treated like they were that valuable, and Jesus did. Grace was meant for you too. Forgiveness, grace. When the woman was accused of adultery and they wanted to stone her to death, which many people confuse with Mary Magdalene, that wasn't her. It was another one. Jesus said, who among you can throw the first stone? Also, it says here, don't be afraid to persist in prayer. You know, people are like, somebody once said to me, I pray once, and then I say, Jesus heard my prayer, and I'm done. I just, you know, forget about it because Jesus prayed about it. I said, you know, I like that. I like that philosophy. But I like continual prayer because it reminds me of the persistent widow or the woman who, you know, was touching the tassel of Jesus' cloak. They were persistent. They reached out. Also, you aren't here to juggle everything. Bringing up Mary and Martha, where Martha's so worried about getting the food out, having everything be perfect, and Mary was listening to Jesus. And I love what I could just see Jesus saying this to me. Ellen, Ellen, you are anxious and troubled about many things. And what I would say back to Jesus is, I'm better, Jesus, thanks to you. I'm better. I'm getting there. And then I love this. Jesus loves you. Is he first in your life today? I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.